Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. It's just Marco here once again, and I am here today to review Night on Earth. This is actually an anthology movie, and it is another Winona Ryder movie, and I wasn't really sure what to expect with this one because I've never heard anyone talk about this movie ever. And in fact, I never even knew about it. You know, when I saw it, I was like, wow, this movie's like one of those weird, obscure ones that like you don't even think that something like that exists, and then you're like, oh wow, there's this kind of hidden kind of treasure, hidden gem of a movie, and it has Winona Ryder in it, of course. And so this is all about 5 stories of cab drivers from all around the world. You have one in Los Angeles, one in New York, one in Paris, one in Rome, and then one in Helsinki, or Helsinki, Helsinki, Finland, or something. And I'll just say right off the bat, I think that it's a pretty good anthology movie because something that was really refreshing about it to me was that usually in anthology movies, I really don't like some of the stories because it's very predictable. You'll have a guy or a girl who's really, really mean or really evil, just evil, not even just mean, but plain evil. And then they get killed, or, yeah, you know, like, they're very predictable. Or there's a twist, you know, there's always, like, a twist where, oh, someone that you thought was good is evil, something like that, you know. And so I really don't like anthology movies a lot of the times because I don't like how predictable that is. I don't like how you watch a movie knowing what's going to happen. And I feel the same way about, like, found footage movies. Like, I get it, you know, found footage implies that people might have been killed since the footage is found. And, and it's not, like, given. You know, it's not called given footage, you know. It's found, so that means, like, oh, why did they find it? Well, because it was in this abandoned building where these other people came there, they filmed there, and then they got killed, so the footage is still there, or something, you know. But that's a different topic, you know. This is anthology movies, but yeah. It's even worse for anthology movies, though, because I feel like anthology movies, the stories, they're very short, you know. They're 25 minutes or so apiece. And so to have, like, a predictable story like that over and over and over again is really, really irritating. It's kind of like when you do a marathon of a TV show that you really don't like when we did Goosebumps, 5 episodes of Goosebumps, and, you know, each episode it was just, like, torture and pain and misery. And for this movie, though, I actually kind of enjoyed it, you know. It was like a breath of fresh air. And, yeah. Right off the bat, they played, like, a really odd song. It's probably the weirdest, oddest song I've ever heard. And that's when I knew this was going to be a different kind of experience. You know, like, right off the bat, they tell you, they set the tone, what kind of a weird movie this is going to be. And I'd also like to say that I've seen something like this kind of before. I went to Chicago this one time, which I've been there a lot of times, and I saw this play called Hell Cab. I was doing it because we were on vacation, and I needed to get another credit for my band class, you know, back when I was in band. You know, they had this sheet that you filled out where you had to pretend like you practiced this amount of minutes every day or something stupid like that. And, you know, I just made all that shit up. But then they had this thing at the bottom where you had to, I don't know, you had to go to a concert or a play or something, and so I had to go to a couple of those things. It was kind of stupid. It was a waste of money. I mean, that's stupid. I mean, why would they make you, like, spend money to get, like, a grade? Because that's essentially what it was. Like, it was like a quarter of your whole credit for band. So, like, if you didn't go out and spend money on seeing these stupid concerts and things that you really didn't care about, or musicals, then you would get a bad grade. I don't think that should be allowed, honestly. I mean, he claimed that it was kind of like extra credit or something, but it can't really be extra credit if it's, like, required. So, but that Hellcab play, I thought it was pretty good. You know, it was something where I thought it was pretty creative because, you know, it was this really small theater room, and they had, like, this whole cab in the center of the room, and it was a really creative set, and it really looked like it was snowing outside, kind of, which is ironic because I'm going to have to shoot that sequence pretty soon where I'm pretending that it's snowing and everything. But it was very effective, and it felt very real, and it was very fun to have kind of that experience. I mean, the story was just whatever, you know, but the experience of how it was presented was what was really special about it. And I feel like this movie is kind of similar, where only like 1 out of these 5 stories is really, 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 really good. All the other stories are just okay. But the way that you go from one place to another, and it just makes it like a really fun experience for some reason. I don't know why. Because first off, you got Winona Ryder. She's a rough character in this movie. She's smoking constantly, which is kind of gross because I don't know what it is, like, especially with people nowadays, but, like, for some reason, like, a lot of women nowadays really like to smoke. And I don't know, like, I thought that after a certain period that, like, people would stop thinking that that was attractive to do, or that was fun to do, like, because it's gross. And so, like, but she smokes constantly, and she also chews bubble gum. And I've noticed that she really likes to chew gum in her movies. Like, I feel like that's maybe a part of her contract, is that, like, oh, maybe at some point in the movie my character could be chewing gum, and that could be, like, part of my character. So Winona Ryder picks up this woman who's, like, a casting agent, and she, you know, Winona's kind of like an interesting character. She really wants to be a mechanic. You know, she did a good job with this character, and the casting agent is like, oh shit, I could actually turn this rough and rugged woman into an actress, because everyone wants to be an actress. But then at the very end of their trip, their ride, they get out and they unload all the luggage and everything. And the casting agent asks her if she wants to be an actress, and she's like, no. And I thought it was really cool how, like, you know, this could have been like a golden moment, like a golden opportunity for someone who wanted to be an actor or actress to just so happen to be, you know, driving a casting agent home in Beverly Hills, and then they're like, you know, you could be an actress or actor for me. And she doesn't take it because she wants to be a mechanic. She doesn't want to be an actress. And I thought that was kind of a nice little message right there, and it was a nice, like, that was a nice little story. It was like a B. It wasn't something where I felt like, this is, like, really, really good, or something I need to watch again, but, like, it was pretty good. The next story takes place in New York. And it's all about Gus from Breaking Bad. Actually, I did not recognize him at all. Maybe it's because he was wearing this kind of wintry hat. And, you know, it's actually a type of hat that I'm going to have in my movie in a certain scene. And so I thought it was funny seeing that. But he's having hard time getting a taxi, and he's just standing there in the street over and over again, like, hey, I want a taxi, someone pick me up. And no one wants to pick him up, I guess because he's black or something, because they're scared of him. I don't know, like, but that's the impression that I got. And then this one German guy picks him up. He's like this old man, and he's having a really hard time. I guess it's his first night driving a taxi, and he can't drive at all. I mean, he doesn't even put the car in the right gear. He puts it in neutral. And so then Gus from Breaking Bad is like, okay, actually, how about this? I am going to drive this taxi, and I'm going to show you what to do, and I'm going to take myself to where I want to go. And this was a really, really fantastic, I would go so far as to say fantastic story. It felt like I would have liked to have seen this story for the whole movie. The chemistry that Gus from Breaking Bad had with this German guy was really, really good. And it's funny, too, because the German guy, his name is Helmut, and Gus is making fun of him, and then Helmut is like, oh, what's your name? And he's like, my name is Yo-Yo. And it's funny, like, these two really oddball names. Like, I've never heard of someone being named Helmut before. Like, I took German class for a couple of years in high school. Every year, they gave you the chance to pick a new German name to be called in class. I don't think I ever saw Helmut the whole time. You know, I actually chose the name Gustav in tribute to Gus from Breaking Bad. And I feel like now I wish I would have chosen Helmut, because it's a really funny name. There was this other guy too, and I think he named himself Comrade, and I would call him I think it was Kampf, which was like Conehead, you know, like the Coneheads. And so yeah, anyways, this was just a solidly entertaining story. And then Gus he spots Rosie Perez is out on the street, and he wants to pick her up and take her home too, because he doesn't understand why she's walking out in the middle of the night, where she's going, what she's doing. And this was really, really good. Like, I can't tell you guys how much I can't emphasize, how much I enjoyed this story as much as I did. I mean, this was really good. And finally, they get to where they want to go, and they say goodbye. And this is where it kind of becomes sad, because Helmut, he drives off, and he's still bad at driving. He's bad at directions. You know, he doesn't know where to go to get back to Manhattan from Brooklyn. And it kind of turns into like a little bit of a Twilight Zone episode where it becomes sad because he gets kind of lost. And you just have a bad feeling at the end. And then it ends and it's like, oh, that was kind of sad. But then again, I couldn't tell, like, maybe he actually did get to Manhattan, but I couldn't tell. You know, like, from my interpretation, he did not get to Manhattan because he went the wrong way. And, yeah. I gave that story an A+. I highly enjoyed it. I felt like I could, as I said before, I could have seen a whole movie with just this duo of guys. But then again, I don't really know what would happen in that movie. It's just that's the vibe that I got of, like, I really enjoyed myself. The third story was in Paris, France, not Paris, London. Sorry, guys. I took this new drug yesterday. Probably shouldn't have taken it because it said on the package that it could cause these certain side effects. Like, it could affect your speech, it could affect your memory, and it will make anxiety worse if you have anxiety. And so, like, you know, that's why my review was kind of off yesterday, and that's why I'm a little bit off today. It's because yesterday I took that, I tried out that drug, and I don't think I'll probably continue taking that. Because, I mean, it's just not worth it. I mean, I need to be able to function in some type of way, you know? And, yeah. So, anyways, Paris, France. This is a story about a guy he's kind of a hothead. You know, he's a black Frenchman. So he's a hothead. And he's really fed up with, like, just what he's had to go through for the whole day. And then there are these two drunk guys, and they're, like, making fun of him. And I thought that was kind of funny. And then he pulls over and kicks them out, but he forgets to make them pay him. And so then he's like, shit, I'm having a terrible, terrible day. And then he picks up a blind woman, and he thinks, like, yeah, this blind woman, she's not going to give me any shit. She's going to just sit there and be quiet, and I'm going to, you know, I'm just, yeah. You know those types of days where you're just, like, fed up with everything, and, you know, everything pisses you off, or everything irritates you. That's the type of day that he's having. But she does give him trouble. She's, like, very, very critical, and she's very vocal about just everything she's thinking. You know, she can feel, like, there's this one part where she's like, okay, take me this way, and instead of going that way, he takes her through this tunnel, and she immediately knows and senses it, and she's like, I hate the tunnel! Why'd you take me in here? Like, she's just fucking ranting and raving, and she was really, really good. And I thought that this was a good duo, too. I felt like, you know, they were kind of learning from each other, or I guess he was learning from her more so, just like her perspective and how the world works for her, and how, like, when you're blind, how it feels to have sex, or how it feels to go to the movies, blah, 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 blah. And I felt like, you know, this movie, it needs a little bit of variety. There is inherently variety with, like, going around the world with these different cabs and different countries and different places, but the variety of, like, what actually happens. And I felt like this is one of those stories where I was like, maybe this should have been a romance. Like, maybe they should have ended up getting together at the end of the movie, or maybe it would hint that they would get together, like, maybe after he because what happens at the end is that he lets her out, and he's still being kind of a dickhead, because he undercharges her because he feels so bad about her and everything, and she's really insulted by it, and then he gets in a crash, and she just kind of smiles and walks off because she's glad that he got some kind of karma for being a jerk, I guess. But I kind of felt like at that point, you know, he actually kind of liked her, and I thought at that point, maybe getting in a crash should have been like a sign for him that he should go over there and talk to her more. You know, because then he was stuck there at that intersection, and you know, she had just gotten out, and so I thought maybe that story should have ended with, like, him going up to her and being like, hey, this was a crazy night, I'm really sorry about how I've acted, would you like to go out sometime? And then maybe you wouldn't even have to show her responding to him. Maybe you could have just cut away after that, and it could have been like, oh, will they, won't they? Because, like, I don't know. I felt like this was an opportunity to have, like, a little bit of variety in that way. And, yeah. So I give that story a B. And I'm giving it a B because the next two stories are kind of mediocre at best. And so, because one of the weird things is that, you know, the 3 out of 5 stories are foreign films. So they all have subtitles. Now, I already have a hard time with subtitles. I don't like reading while I'm watching a movie. That's not why I watch a movie. Well, the third story, it has nice and big subtitles, so you can thoroughly understand everything that's being said. But then the fourth and the fifth story had these really tiny subtitles. And so I had to hold my phone like practically up to my face to actually be able to even understand those stories. So both of them were kind of less enjoyable for me. Yeah. So so the next story, the next story is in Rome. It's all about this Italian taxi driver, and he picks up this guy who's dressed like a bishop, but I guess he's not really a bishop. And yeah, I really didn't enjoy this one very much, because most of it was just this really annoying taxi cab driver who just won't stop talking. And there are moments in this movie where he literally does not stop. Like, he's like, and I was getting really, really annoyed. And I guess it was kind of accurate, because there's probably cab drivers like that. And what he was doing was even more annoying, was that after this bishop has told him 1,000 times that he is not a bishop, or I guess maybe he is, I don't know, because like he is dressed like a bishop, I guess. I mean, I haven't really seen a bishop very much. I mean, I know about bishops and chess, but yeah. So, but what he's doing is he's confessing all of his dirty sins to this bishop as he's sitting in the back seat. And then there's even this part where there are these two trannies who are out on the sidewalk, and he pulls over and talks with them like he knows them, and you just felt like this bishop, he's having to put up with all this shit tonight, or whoever this guy is. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is that this whole time the bishop is actually really sick, and he is like having some sort of an attack, heart attack or something, and he is dying. And he tries to take like a pill or a couple of pills, and they all fall to the ground, and he is so sick that he can't reach it, and he can't even talk and say like, help me, help get the pills. Or even if he did talk, the cab driver would just talk over him. So finally, after he's done confessing his sins, the Italian guy's dead. And he's like, oh, shit. And he thinks that for some reason that he's going to get blamed. Which was really weird. Like, so what? The guy died in the back of your taxi. Like, that's not your fault. And so anyways, he pulls over. And he takes this guy out of his car. And he sets it up to make it look like he's fallen asleep on a bench somewhere. And the comedy is that he gives him his sunglasses that he's been wearing even though it's at nighttime. And he even forgot that he had sunglasses on because he's been wearing them for so long. And there was one funny line that I really liked where he said he's supposed to be a bishop, but he weighs enough to be a cardinal. And I don't know, I thought that was kind of funny, I guess, but like, yeah. This one was just really kind of annoying, and the ending saved it for me from being like a complete disaster, so not all the stories can be perfect, The last story is another kind of pointless one for me. It's all about these two guys who take this drunk guy home. I guess they're all drunk, and they're all talking together with the mustache man who drives the car, and they're all telling stories about their lives, and then he tells what's supposed to be the saddest story of all time, which is like he was supposed to have a baby, and then the baby fought for its life, and then it died, and so that was really sad, and then they all go home, and that's how that ends. I give that one like a C, because, like, did I rate the last one? I can't remember if I did. Okay, I would give the last one, like, a B- or a C+. As I said, the ending really saved it, because I thought the ending was at least a little bit different and a little bit funnier. But then this last story, it was just really kind of pointless to me. Nothing really happened. People just talked. It felt like a stage play. In fact, this whole movie felt like a play. And I can't remember if this movie was a play originally or not, so I'm going to look it up. This was definitely one of Winona Ryder's better movies, I guess, just because it was so different and it was so fun and unique. But at the same time, I still don't think it's as good as some of the other movies of hers that I've seen. So, yeah, it's kind of a mixed bag. I don't even know why it's rated R, because it has the F word a couple of times. No, this was not based on a play. That's kind of surprising. Let's look up Night on Earth play, or Night on Earth play, to see if they've turned it into a play. No. That's really surprising, because this was literally exactly like Hellcab, except for Hellcab was just one guy driving around a bunch of different people. In fact, it was like, I guess like 5 different people in one night, and this was kind of like that, so, yeah. So I would give this movie, in terms of food, I would say it's like you're taste testing a bunch of different pizzas. And I'm talking about pizza because the second movie the second anthology takes place in New York, where, you know, everyone likes to get New York style pizza. And so for some reason, like, the whole movie, I just thought about pizza, and I thought about the smell of, like, freshly baked pizza, like Marion's Pizza, which we have here, or Domino's, and I felt like this movie is like, what if you were just really crazy for pizza, and so you went to, like, 5 different places? And especially the ones around here, you're not really going to get very good pizza, but you will get 1 or 2 really good slices of pizza, maybe. And so that was the first 2 stories. You know, those were the best ones. And then the Paris one was the 3rd best. And then the 4th and the 5th were just kind of like, you could have taken or left those, sorry. And, you know, they weren't really anywhere near as good as the first 3 stories, in my opinion. I know that there are some people who really liked all of them, just because, like, it was refreshing to see, like, the 5 different stories, but I really didn't like the last 2. So yeah, anyways, please like this video and comment and tell me what you thought of this movie, and then please subscribe if you'd like to see more honest movie reviews. Goodbye, everybody. See you soon.